It's like deja vu.
Hi, buddy. Something stronger than a ginger ale.
I bought myself my airplane model. Okay, there's fruit, but I'm getting. Hi, Bonk.
Hey, what's up?
Essentials. Sponsor. Gummy bears. Airbus. This whole operation runs with gummy bears and zins. I'm pretty tired, not gonna lie, but this is a really good event. These conferences are pretty exhausting. When you do the conference circuit like year round, you have to get like mentally prepared for them. You're like, oh, it's just a regular day of work, but it's really not. Today, for example, we're running at the conference. We've been here for 2.5 days. We got here Monday afternoon. We had a full day yesterday, and today is like giving everyone an understanding of what the day looks like. Woke up at 6, got ready, caught up on work because like we're on the West Coast now, so things have already been going up. The company's awake. 7 o'clock, we recorded tour talks. 8 o'clock, I had a sales call with the client. 9 o'clock was working. 10 o'clock, I had a mastermind coaching group with Dan Martell. 10:30, I had a recording with Chris fucking Rose for the John and Marc podcast. We had a small break, about 45 minutes to get lunch. Then we had another podcast we had to record immediately after lunch with Jacqueline from Bighorn Law, who was amazing. Immediately when she left, Sam Aguiar walked in for another podcast, finished that up, ran down to the conference to see the last sessions, see people at the conference, meet up with the team, start working strategy, talking about other things we're doing, recapping the week, and then also continuing to check my phone and make sure all the fires of the company were running and everything was going well, because just because we're here doesn't mean the work stops at home with delivering great results for our clients. So you're running 100 miles an hour, and then we're recording content right now. We're about to go to dinner, wrap up dinner, straight to bed, then head home. So it's a full day going nonstop. And not only is it like things that I'm doing, Alec is running around constantly, either setting up for the podcast, making sure everything's good to go, recording content anytime we're moving in between scenes. Randy's coordinating all the guests that are constantly changing schedules because of the conference. It's like influx. Ellie's setting meetings. When she's setting a meeting that she's meeting with someone, we're recapping afterwards. Going down to meet with her if she met with a great client that she wanted me to talk to. There's just a lot of moving parts at all times, and you're on from the moment you wake up to the moment you end. But it's fun. It's like what I signed up for. It's most people go to conferences and they feel disappointed because they don't feel like they got a lot out of it. Every time I leave one of these events, I feel like I got every single ounce of opportunity out of it, and it's really exciting. It's like if I don't leave exhausted, that means I left opportunity on the table, and I try to avoid doing that at all costs. Doing it without John is like going to sleep without your safety blanket. John and I are like the movie Pacific Rim. John not being here, I'm happy he's taking time away. It's a little tough. I miss him for sure. For those who've seen the movie like Pacific Rim, running this operation, running the agency, running the podcast is kind of like running a Jaeger. You need the mental load of 2 people for it to operate smoothly. John is like my best friend, and he thinks of everything that I don't think of, and we work in tandem to accomplish all the things we do. So having someone that's not here to split the mental load just adds to the additional work, but we perform best when both of us are here. All right, let's talk about the Grow or Die conference. Overall vibes were high. I think everyone that attended was like happy they attended. Some of the conferences I go to, people kind of feel like they go every year hoping it will be better, and it's kind of a lot of the same. And they go just because they've always gone. I think the energy was pretty high here. People were excited to go. People were excited to see the format. I think it was scheduled like perfect amount, where there was sessions for people to attend to. There was a good amount of breaks, and it wasn't over schedule from additional events to go to. So when the day got done, people went out to dinner. They had plenty of time to network with other people where they weren't maybe forced to go to specific events like happy hours and stuff like that. Everyone seemed excited to go to the other events. There were other things going on that were very well attended, but as a whole, I really enjoyed the conference. I'm excited to see what they do next year. I know they were pitching this as the last time that John Morgan is presenting at this. So I'm interested to see how Dan and Matt take this over next year. Dan and Matt were pretty involved involved this year as well, but kind of being the new face and seeing John not involved. It is nice too to have keynote speakers that aren't just from the law space. So seeing people outside the industry. Once again, big fan of Dan Martell. We got to see his keynote. For example, they had Morgan Housel today, but bringing in other people that are thought leaders outside the legal industry was good. That's not just entertainment, which we usually see at some other conferences. I really enjoyed it. I'm also a really big fan. It was only 2 days. They did an opening party the night before when everyone arrived, which I really like, versus the opening party after the first day. And it doesn't feel too stretched out. I'm like happy it's done today. There's not the like half day where no one really attends, but everyone heads home. It was a really good event. All right, let's talk about the podcast guests we had. We got some new guests that maybe you guys haven't had a ton of exposure to, but I think are a lot of like future stars and really great content. Some of these people are already well known, but we had Lillian with Lady Legal. Those are really, really good podcasts. She was a great guest. She hasn't done a ton of episodes, but man, she's a powerhouse. Like a great episode. It was super easy to talk to. I really enjoyed it. We actually had to like cut it early because we would have kept going for forever and she had places to be. Today we had 3 really good podcasts. Sometimes the first one of the day is kind of hard to get things rolling, but we had Chris fucking Rose, who was really great. We had a great conversation, went a bunch of different directions that I wasn't planned for. At one point, he was asking me a ton of questions and I was the guest here. Enjoyed that a lot. We had Jacqueline, who's the CEO of Bighorn Law here in Las Vegas. She's the CEO of the firm. It was really interesting to talk about the story. She actually got promoted into the CEO role like the day before like COVID madness happened. So she went from being promoted to CEO directly into crisis and then came out of that, made sure the firm survived, and then it's growing and thriving today. Great episode. Once again, also had to end that one short. She was double booked for something else. We could have gone for a whole nother hour easily. I can't wait to speak with her again. She also came bearing gifts. She's an angel. And then we wrapped it up with Sam Aguiar. For those who don't know, he is, I'm gonna call him the King of Louisville. He's very well known in that space. He's had a lot of national exposure. It was great hearing about his story, how he's built his brand in the community, how he's built community loyalty, and then how he's really made real change by taking on some national cases and making sure that like reform happens in the criminal justice and legal system. Great episode. I really enjoyed it. I appreciated Randy on my team who got everything booked for us, prepped all the episodes for me, but it was really well done. And I'm looking forward to actually having most of these people back on because there's so much we talked about and there's so much that I still want to talk to them about. But from a timing perspective, I need to run it back with them and continue the conversation. Hands down, the highlight of this trip was I got to meet Dan Martell, sit down with him and chat with him for a little bit before he went on. It was actually like a little bit cooler going in his green room, chatting with him, his extended team, who I'd met before, like on Zoom and chatted with many a times. But meeting them in person was a really fun experience. And then seeing him present, he's a great presenter. I think the content he did was completely different than anyone else has seen and really resonated with the audience. I love his presentation style. He keeps everyone very engaged. He's very high energy and he keeps it very real, mixing in lessons from a business perspective as well as life lessons and stories that makes it very easy to consume, and it went by very fast. After that, there's a small fireside chat where John Morgan asked him some questions that he wanted to ask him where he answered for the audience as well. It was really well done. I think that like hour and a half was probably the highlight of the trip for me. I would absolutely come back to this. It was a great event. I can't wait to come back next year. Why this conference was good. It was single track with vetted people presenting, but it was like good presentations that was like pre-vetted content. It wasn't just like a random person speaking for 30, 45 minutes, like pitching people or that like doesn't present professionally or doesn't have like a really well thought out presentation that they practiced. The single track worked really well. It was high quality and the content was very high quality. I think that's really important and overlooked and really needs to be focused on moving forward for other events. This is day 2. Grow or die. I haven't seen the outside in 48 hours. I have grown. Randy's about to die though. He hasn't slept yet.